I've heard of natural way for quite a while, and I like it. If I had a way to be more involved with this other than telephone and what do you call those things? Computers. I would be more active in this. I think what we have in a natural way is getting in touch with Mother Earth, really getting the feel of it, not touching the soil or grass, but from right here where we live, we have to pack around this pitiful body. And during our journey through this life, we learn from time to time how to communicate. But from the time I first came to the realization of the spiritual path we call the Red Road, I made sure that I paid close attention to everything, pretty much everything that I heard, both in the physical world and the spiritual world. It wasn't till about 5 or 6 years later till I realized that I could hear and understand the spirits. Because at that time it seemed so natural to do these things. And people would say, how did you know? I said, because I was listening. Well, at that time it became natural for me to pay attention. And I thought, doesn't everybody do this? Obviously not. After maybe 8 years later, I began to realize that we don't all think alike. We don't all live alike. But to us, that's natural. For me, the natural thing for me to do is make a total turnabout from where I came from. When I made the total turn, I began to listen and speak to these people we call spirits. And I came across somebody that had mentioned the God-man consciousness. We, as pitiful human beings that stand on 2 legs, are pretty much like God. But we misuse what we have in a lot of ways. And when I began to follow the teachings of different people, basically there were Lakotas, but I got some from the Navajo and the Apache and different tribes that I learned from. But basically I stuck with the Lakota way of being. Because where I was at, this man was teaching and I liked it and I followed it. For me, that was not a natural way. Because I was totally opposite of what that teaching was. And when I made the total turnabout in my lifestyle and living, I began to realize that God and man think alike. It was hard for me to believe because of the way I saw people live, the disrespect that I saw amongst even our most holy people. I ran across a man well over 30 years ago, and I asked him to help me to make this turnabout. And he's a Pima. At that time, he must have been about 75 years old. But then He said, you have to pay close attention to what I have to tell you. We were sitting in the park, and he told me to go over there and kick that tree as hard as you can. I looked at him and said, that's kind of dumb. He looked at me right straight in the eyes and a big old smile on his face. You know, all the drinking and drugging you've been doing, that's kind of dumb too. So I got up, and that day I was wearing my steel-tipped boots. And I kicked the bottom with the bottom of my foot on that tree as hard as I could. And I came back limping and a real bad feeling. He said, you feel any better? I said, no. Then he said, I want you to go over there and hug that tree and give that tree your best. And I looked at him again and said, that's kind of dumb. And he said, you consider what's dumb, what you've been doing for half your life. So I went to that tree and hugged it. And he said, you think about all the reasons why you're not talking to God. Who made Mother Earth? And he pointed up towards the sky. He said, in the Native American way, we call him grandfather. One of the reasons why we know we call him grandfather, because he is the oldest one we know. Great Spirit. So it started to come back again, the ability to talk to Grandfather Great Spirit, Mother Earth, 4 directions, Grandmother Moon. The ancestors of our people are still listening to us. To me, right now, that's the natural way. To a lot of people, it's not so natural because we spent most of our life walking around without even communicating. Not as much as saying thank you. I think that's one of the most powerful prayers that I know, is to say thank you. Not for anything particular, but thank you. So the more I did this, the more people began to be aware that I was just a little bit different because of the way I talk. I think if we all put a little effort in just saying thank you, God. Thank you, Grandfather Great Spirit. And to me, this is a natural way. It's a matter of knowing who you are and who you're talking to. A matter of knowing who you are is more of a natural way than I had ever known. The way, my natural way was making money all the time. But I made a total turnabout, and here I am today. Totally different person than 33 years ago.